How's everybody doing this morning?
Good, how are you, Kurt?
It's a good Iowa fall day, isn't it? Good day for some football.
All right, fire away, guys.
What's it been like being able to find some time, Kurt, to get back here?
You know what? It is always great to come back, and it's always been tough in the fall. You've been asked to come back numerous times, and with my boys playing and all the stuff I'm doing in the NFL, never seems to work. But it has been great. It's worked out just perfectly with my schedule. So, but it's always great to come back. I mean, so many great people here. I've got so many great memories from here. Just love Iowa. I love the people in Iowa, and so it's been enjoyable to come back and be able to meet some of the people that I knew from way back, but also reconnect with some new people.
Kurt, you got to speak to the football team yesterday. What was
Yeah.
your message to the guys?
There's a couple different messages, but I think a couple of the big ones were just who are you every single day? How do you show up every single day? I've got a bit of a crazy journey, and when I was here, I sat on the bench for 4 years, and a big part of what I learned along the way was how to practice, how to go about my job every day, how to represent myself on a daily basis. So that was one of my messages, and the other one was never let your circumstances define you. My journey, if it tells you anything, it's that a lot of people want to tell me what I couldn't do based on where I was or my circumstances at the time, and I think a lot of people along the journey, especially in a sport, oftentimes you find yourself in a place you don't necessarily want to be, but that doesn't have to write the whole story for you. So those were a couple of the things that I shared with the guys, having been in their seat, sitting in that same spot, probably the same dream of most of those guys, and knowing that it doesn't always play out exactly like you want it to, but that doesn't mean you can't get where you want to go.
Kurt, what was your most favorite moment at UNI?
Man, I mean, when you spend 4.5, 5 years here with your friends, on the football team. I mean, there's so many great memories. I met my wife when I was going to school here, so I probably have to say that is my greatest memory. But just as a football player, I was talking yesterday when I was in the dome, and I just remember how we would get inside the garage, and the drummer would come in and start banging, and we were pumped up, and we're waiting for that, the garage door to raise up a little bit higher, and we'd run out, with a full stadium. I mean, it was just so many great times, because so much of my life was shaped right here in those years, through some good, some bad, some struggles, some great times. And so, you look back so fondly on that and know that this is the time that really shaped who I would become years later.
And Kurt, how about being here alongside this big announcement, the Art Tomorrow campaign, this capital fundraiser? What have you learned, and how do you think it can help, particularly the athletics program, into what's such a competitive environment right now?
Well, as I've gone through this entire journey, I have people ask me all the time, what do you want your legacy to be? And, for a long time in my life, it was like, I want to play well on a football field, and I want people to remember me for playing in Super Bowls or winning Super Bowls or whatever that may be. As you get a little bit more removed from that, you start to understand, I want to leave a legacy that impacts the next generation. I want to go beyond a football field and be able to impact the lives of people. And that, to me, is what this campaign is all about. And I just shared how, this time here in college, how it shaped who I was, and it set me on a path to be able to accomplish what I did. That, to me, is what colleges and universities and communities like this are all about, is being able to shape the next generation. So the Art Tomorrow campaign is really about doing that. It's continuing to improve the situation here for the next generation, so they can come in, be impacted, and it can set them on a path to be able to accomplish whatever they want to accomplish.
Kurt, did you ever expect your post-playing media career to take off as quickly as it is? You doing Westwood One with Harlan and NFL Network as well?
When you're playing, all you think about is playing. You think about, the time that you get on the field, and, if somebody told me I was going to have a 12-year NFL career, I mean, like, that's great. And then we'll just see what happens afterwards. And now I've had a 12-year career after I left the field in a game that I love, with the passion that I have for the game. And again, we talk about legacy, and it's my chance to be able to use all of my experiences and this great game to be able to impact the next generation, whether that's radio, TV, or even the coaching that I do. And that's part of the blessing of it, is that it's given me so much, and now I get a chance to use the game to be able to give back to the next generation, whether that's coaching high school football or doing individual stuff, whatever that may be. So it's been a huge blessing to be able to stay in the game as long as I have.
So you got sons in college. This is kind of a 2022 question. If you were playing in 2022, would you have sat on the bench for 4 years, or would you have transferred? And whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent, how do you think that's changed the game?
Well, I mean, I don't like to think that I should have sat on the bench for 4 years either way, but you never know. I mean, the thing about it is there's so much talent out there, and every situation is different, and that's one thing that I've learned. You know, I've got two boys. I got one boy that walked on, and you know, he's become a captain at two different teams, and he's worked his way into a starting role. I've got another son that became a starter in the third game as a true freshman. So you just never know. The situations are different, how they play out, but the biggest thing that I've realized is, what do you do with your opportunity when you get it? And if you can step in and be successful and play well, regardless of whether you sit on the bench for 4 years or you play in your third game, that's really what matters. And that's really, you know, the message so much along the way. And the message to my kids is that you just keep working every day, and at some point the opportunity is going to come. And at the end of the day, you got to prove whether you can handle that opportunity or not.
With your platform in the NFL media, do you feel like you kind of carry the torch for these FCS guys, because they're becoming more and more prevalent in terms of rising up draft boards?
Well, I mean, everything, you know, whether it was arena football or NFL Europe, or as you say, playing at a smaller school, yeah, I think you carry the torch for everybody, and you let them know that, you know, just where you're at right now. And again, another thing that I was talking to the guys about is that, you know, when I came here, I was like a lot of guys, I should have been recruited higher, I should have had more schools, should have played it. At the bottom line, what I figure is that if you play and you play well, they're going to find you. And I think that's the beautiful thing that we've seen over the years, is that, you know, maybe back when I played, they looked and said, okay, we're going to look at all the big schools and not really explore the other things. There is so much talent around the country at every level that if you can play, they're going to find you if that is your dream at the next level. But yeah, I think you always carry that torch, and you always encourage guys that it doesn't matter where you start. It's all about where you finish, and you can get an opportunity no matter where you play.
Coach Farley approaches you, says you have COVID eligibility. Are you competing with Theo Day for that starting job?
I'm in. I feel great. I feel like I got a few more throws in me for sure.
Are you going to be able to? Are you going to Ames tonight to watch Cade?
I am. Yep. Yeah. So that's kind of how it played out perfectly. That they reached out to me and said, "Hey, we know Cade's playing at Iowa State. Are you coming back for that game? Can you come over?" And so yeah, it worked out perfectly. So it's been a blessing to be able to have the post playing career that I have, and to be able to see my boys play as much as possible. And Cade being in his last year, it's been fun to watch, and they're playing great. So let's hope they can get one against Iowa State. Iowa State's had their number the last couple of years.
Will we hear you tomorrow night with Harlan on Sunday Night Football?
I'll be on Monday Night Football, so I'll be heading to Kansas City to do the game on Monday Night Football. Yep, for sure.
What's it like coming back and seeing all the changes, all the updates to the facilities from the time that you played here?
Yeah, you know, it's always that, you know, you have the nostalgia because there's a lot of things that are similar. And then it's that cool feeling of seeing how it's grown and seeing the excitement around the team or around the city and people. You know, there's just so much that's the same, so much that's different. But I love seeing things that are growing and constantly moving forward and presenting new opportunities to these next generation of, of young students that have come here. And I love to see the community come out. I mean, it was awesome, you know, coming down Main Street here and seeing all the people out this morning. I mean, it's just, it's great. I love college towns, and I love the way that the community connects with the students, and I've seen a lot of that over the last couple of days.
What was one lesson you gained at UNI that you still carry today?
Well, I was telling the player, probably the greatest lesson I learned was the idea of who are you in practice. You know, I sat on the bench for 4 years, and I remember having a conversation, through the coaches of why I wasn't playing. And one of their messages to me was because he wasn't a very good practice player. You know, and at the time I'm thinking, really? Practice? Like, what are we talking about? Like, not in the middle of the game? And you start to realize that, like, in the game of football, you know, we play 12 games a year. In the NFL, you play 16, 17 games a year. So 95% of life is lived in practice. And people want to know who you're going to be every day. How are you going to show up for work? Can they trust you in the big moments by what you do in the little moments? So that was probably the greatest lesson I learned. And it came through something that I don't want to be sitting on the bench for 4 years. But it was in that process that I learned how to become the person that I am. And that, you know, applies to football, of course, throughout my career. But whether I'm being a husband, whether I'm being a father, whether I'm in one of my other jobs, it's how do I do my job on a daily basis? What do they get to see from me on a daily basis? So that was probably the greatest lesson that I learned, and it's something that I still try to apply each and every day.
All right.
Was the playoff game against Aaron Rodgers one of your most memorable? The 51-45 game?
Well,
Which
I
was
mean,
incredible.
yeah, I mean, it was pretty incredible. I mean, it was my last home game in Arizona. You could argue it was my best game that I ever played in my career, so it's
Right.
nice to kind of go out, on a high note. And then knowing who Aaron Rodgers is now, and, when you're the old guy, you never want the young studs to beat you. You want to be able to have that on your resume. So it was nice to be able to beat Aaron Rodgers, and I can say that now. I beat Aaron Rodgers in my last playoff game, so it's pretty cool.
This weather make you miss Iowa?
I love this. Is like perfect, isn't it? This feels like a fall Friday night football game. It does. Now, if it gets a month from now, then no, I'll tell you that's why I live in Arizona. But right now, it is. I mean, this is just a perfect day, a beautiful day, and it's fun to come back because you love to see the seasons. You love to see the leaves change, and you love to be a part of this time of year. A little bit of snow on the ground would have been cool too. I missed that a little bit, but yeah, perfect fall day.
Now, Kurt, do you think that national championships amongst sports are equally as valuable? As I myself am a national
Okay.
champion in
All
trap
right.
shooting.